Hello there, Sprinkles. Today we're going to speak about yield farming again. I have to keep reminding you of this because it's a very common trap in crypto. Now, yield farming, whenever you hear about it in crypto, you're always going to hear this term, impermanent loss. Now, impermanent loss, everybody gets it wrong. 99% of people have the wrong definition of impermanent loss. Most people think impermanent loss is just coming from the fact that you provide liquidity. So you buy these tokens, one on two sides, you own both of them, and you provide them to the market for other people to trade. And they think your impermanent loss is when they basically deviate from each other. No. Impermanent loss is the extra loss that you got because you provided liquidity. Another term for it is called divergence loss. But I made the term, me, your friend Tommy here with a straight back, wearing a cork hat, not financial advice. I made the term extra loss because that's exactly what it is, because it's going to sound confusing. But once you see it's extra loss, it's going to make sense. Another cute metaphor I can use, friends, is exactly like this. Imagine you are at a party and you're not drinking. And then you drive home and there's a lot of traffic. You see? There's a lot of traffic and you can get home in 30 minutes. Sweet. Divergence or impermanent loss or extra loss, that same thing, that's the equivalent of you're at a party, now you're drinking. Now you've drank a lot of alcohol and you break the law and you go driving home. Now you remember that traffic? It took like 30 minutes for that sober person to get home. Well, because you're drunk, you have extra delay. It's not going to take you 30 minutes. It's going to take you 45 minutes to get home. You see that? There's still traffic. It still takes you a number of time to get home, but because you're drunk, it now takes longer. So we're going to now use this with crypto because in PulseX, for example, you are presented with a wonderful opportunity, friends. And of course, in PulseX here, I'm going to show you. PulseX, the yield farm, they're beautiful. Why? Because PulseX and Pulse, giving you 6, 7, 8% yield. I mean, that's beautiful, isn't it? Because with Hex, you're getting yield from the base token. It's like you're Bitcoin mining. Like that's how crazy it is, right? If this survives, hopefully it does, right? We all do. So, and PulseX and Pulse, that is the yield you get here. That's 8%. That's beautiful. Could also be 6 or 7%. Remember, it went down to 5% because of ink. You also have down here P-Hex and Pulse as well. So its yield was roughly, for some reason it disappeared here, but you could see it was about 16%. Now, I'm very scared about these high digit gains. When you see like a yield of like 4, 5%, they're the real numbers you want to work off in everything. You always want to, if you're getting a high yield, slice it down because they're unsustainable. All we can get is like 3 to 4, and then obviously you got the USD value to worry about as well. So that's another way to think about it, and it's really important because PulseX yield farms, it's such a unique opportunity. You have Pulse, PulseX, and Hex, and they all give you yield, which is what you all want. It gives you a reason to stay in the system. PulseX is deflationary, but because it's financially and spiritually and psychologically tied to the incentive token, right? The token with no friends, the other meme coin that Richard Hart has created, and you're getting paid in the incentive token, the yield. You can just be rotating that yield every week and buying more PulseX. So the yield is beautiful. Obviously, Richard knew exactly what he was doing. This is what crypto wants. Everybody in crypto wants a number go up. Now, you can't force people to get USD value number go up. You can't force that up. What you can do is you can keep getting people's quantity number to go up and get them to speculate in the future. And of course, if you're all going to make it, you really want the quantity to go up at the end of the day. Okay, so this extra loss though, friends, if you're providing liquidity, like in the farms I just showed you, okay, I'm going to use an example here. So the example we're going to have is, and you can actually show it on a calculator, but if you have 2 coins 2 coins. Let's say it's Pulse and PulseX, for example. 2 coins. Now remember, you can also do this with other coins. PulseX and Pulse, they're spiritually tied together. It's a very unique case. The correlation's very tight. With other coins, you're not going to get this wonderful, stroke of luck to get this correlation. Now, imagine one coin. So imagine PulseX did a 20x and Pulse did a 10x. In this example, most people don't even know. They go, oh, sweet, they both went up. So when they see, oh, you have an impermanent loss number of like 5%, and I'm actually going to show you the real number here. You can look at it on a calculator. So you can go to CoinGecko's calculator. So remember, I typed in asset 1 up here, 2,000%, asset 2, 1,000%. This is a price appreciation. Look at the impermanent loss down here. It is 3%, okay? It's 3%. Sorry, it's 5%. Now, what that means is, if you had $10,000 in Pulse and $10,000 in PulseX, and you just sat them in your wallet, no yield farm, what you'll find is, remember, you will have a 20x and a 10x. So you'll have $300,000. Wow. And you are not yield farming. You just let them sit there. $300,000. If you are yield farming, though, and you provided your coins for service, this 5% means, you remember how you had $300,000 in the holding case? Well, now you've lost 5% of that if they get to the target. So you only actually have $285,000. So you hope, see that 5% yield, friends? See this 5% yield that you see down here? What you want to do is you want to try and look at the yields provided for the pair. It's 8% per year. So in a nutshell, the yield's so low. Why is the yield low? It's because it's so competitive. Everybody knows, hey, I want to own these two. That's why there's $44 million of liquidity here. So it takes you about, 9 months earning this 8% to cover the impermanent loss in that world turnout. But obviously, that's if they both go 10x and 20x. What if you're in a coin that doesn't? What if they go down? What if one coin, friends, drops 50% and the other coin goes up 20x? Look what happens. You have an impermanent loss of 70%. Huge. So do you remember your 10K and 10K? Well, in this case, one of your $10,000 legs turned into $200,000 by yourself. And then the other 10,000 leg, right, you're not yield farming, it turned into 5,000. So you have $205,000 in this world, okay, without it. So we can actually write it down. So we can just write down this number, 205K. This is without yield farming, okay? Now, with yield farming, and I'm going to draw a little fork here, with yield farming, it's going to get nasty, friends, because you've lost 70%. So actually, what it means in a nutshell, I'm not even sure I'm doing the maths right, but do you remember your $20,000, friends, from your PulseX, whatever went up, right? You're meant to have 200,000 on that leg, but actually, you only have 60,000. So in this world, I think you now have 65K. Look at that difference. 205K versus 65K. Ouch. Ouch. The guy who didn't provide liquidity, they didn't have to take that extra loss. But the person who was providing liquidity, you got wrecked basically because you were sitting there in a liquidity pool and everyone kept buying it off you and you had to keep selling it along the way. That's what you are when you're providing a service for this. And that's the divergence. It just kept going up and up and it kept diverging. Okay, now this is obviously an extreme value. But, people have done this. There's been many coins that do this. That's why to find coins that are correlated, that's the most important part. So remember in this example, I went through plus 20x and this is minus 50%. Think about that, 205 versus 65K. You literally you're triple the wealth of the other dude. Ouch, okay? But let's use another example. Let's use something like not so extreme, but realistic. See, there's a pool here, friends, I'll tell you, right? There's a pool here you can see, and there's one person in the comment section Oh, man, I love you all, but man, you are annoying. It's like, bro, every day when we were going down for the past 5 months, I should have done the USD yield farming over and over. Habib. I think it was actually a girl, Habibi Albi. Just, what are you doing, man? Please, just watch the videos. I told you. Okay, you either DCA forever or we go to zero. All right, it's one of those two worlds. That's the game. You can't think 6 months. You got to think 6 years. If you're not cut out for it, go buy the S&P 500. Go buy bonds. That's what they want you to do. Okay, we are squirrels. We hold our own nuts. Now, see these people, right? If you are hunting for yield, what most people will do, friends, look at this. You see this 91%? Look at this. 91%. You have pulse and die. You also have, right, the yield, the things keeps disappearing because it's bugging out. But you saw that 91%. Well, think about this yield. People will be like, oh, wow, I'm going to earn 91% yield. But in my example, I'm going to show you. Remember, you have pulse and the stable coin. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you on the calculator what happens. So imagine pulse does a 10x. And the stable coin just stays there. And you're providing liquidity. Does your 90% yield make up for it along the way? Let's find out, right? Because if you did a 20x, which is up here, and then the other asset price is 0, your impermanent loss is still 58%. That's your extra loss, friends. Extra. That means, you know, your pulse, you put 10,000 in pulse and it did 10x. You're supposed to have $100,000. And then you have 10 grand in your die, it stays at 10,000, right? This is the person who has 10 grand in pulse and 10 grand in die, stablecoin, and they just kept it for themselves. They are not yield farming. They have 100 plus 10, 110. What about the person who yield farmed? Ouch. You've lost 58% of your pulse coins. So what happens is your $100,000 supposed position in pulse is not $100,000. It's actually $42,000. Okay. So you get to see, right? That person who sat there making nothing, they have 110. You will have 42 plus 10,000 of the stable coin. You have 52. Okay, that's the number ends up making out together. So here's the thing, though. All right, that's the world where you keep the stable coin. Imagine how much money extra you would make, not financial advice, if you deployed that stable coin and you doubled up on your pulse. Now you'd have $200,000. Whereas the person who liquidity farmed both, they have 62. So once again, you've got 3 times their amount. You see this common number 3? For some reason, that keeps popping up a lot of time. You usually, if you take that risk, you get a 3x multiplier. But if you are yield farming, you dampen your upside by like 66%. That could be the difference between make or break, friends. You know, that really could, between holding too long or whatever. Now, of course, why do these things exist? Well, you know why they exist. Because psychologically, we love them as humans. We love passive investing. So the whole aim, the goal is, I just want you to be aware of this, right? So there's yield given by fees and the farm, right? They must be enough to compensate. But you know, the thing is, if you liquidity farmed, yeah, I know, friends, we love this number go up. So when you're farming on the liquidity, you are receiving incentive token. You are receiving the token and everyone can see their little like dashboard and you can see the number go up. I know it's addictive. It's nice to go, wow, golly gee, oh my gosh. You know, even on gopulse.com/portfolio, you can actually see like ink. You can like toggle it. You can go, hey, how much ink would I have in the next 30 days? What's the US dollar value? You can click on 7 days or 30 days or a month or a year. I mean, it's wonderful to actually see that you just plug in a portfolio and you can see, oh my gosh, how much am I earning per day, per week? It's nice psychologically to do these numbers. That's why passive income, man, it's a big thing for retailers. So that extra loss though, it's serious business. So that's the thing, man. You got to decide. I'm here to win. You see, I'm here, as your friend saw me, to actually win. Same as Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett some people would have said to him many years ago, they said, hey, Warren, by the way, I think Warren was a billionaire maybe at like age 60 or something, 55 or 60. He made his billion. Many people would have said to him, hey, now that you've made your billion, it's time to stop. Why don't you diversify in the S&P 500 and bonds and retire and just go sit on your rocking chair, you know, watch other grannies do handstands in the nursing home. That's what they said to him. And he said, over my dead body, am I going to go do that? That's exactly what he said, okay? So these types of people, these types of mentality, once you know how to win, once you learn how to win, once you have the hunger to win, it doesn't go away. No one can stop it. So yeah, theoretically, you can just go do this yield farming. But the thought of butchering me 66% on the upside to 70% hurts me way too much. And I think you and I have a nice competitive edge compared to the rest of the market because we know the 4-year cycle is still kind of playing out and they're going to print money and everything else again, even though there might be some hiccups along the way. Okay, so that's your competitive edge. Okay, a lot of people out there don't know it, friends, even though we tell them every day, they just don't believe. Okay, so that's what you're really doing here. You're just assessing your options. How are you allocating your capital? And look, man, I know for a fact, yes, a lot of people, I know, friends, it helps psychologically to see a token come into your wallet and to see yourself earning every day and for people to see, wow, I earned $500 this month from the yield farming. I can speculate in my mind that these things go up. You know, I know it psychologically is better. And also I know as well, people would sacrifice like 20% of their upside for the world where they get given a coin every week, right? As like income, the carrot on the stick. I know this for a fact. It works. It does work. That's how the stock market got to where it is, right? But that's something you have to just assess for yourself. I'm not a financial advisor. Everyone's in a different position. Me, I want to bink it. Okay, I want to spray everybody with this super soaker gun. Okay, I'm here to actually win. I want to actually crush it. I don't care about this little like, oh, golly gee, I made 46,000 cents on this new incentive token. Wow. I don't care about that. Don't care about that at all. There's also an intelligent way to do it too, by the way. If you are in this world, I know a lot of you are yield farming too. So friends, I've got yield farms in it too, but the big ones, I have no yield farm, just to let you know. Okay, friends, I'm not telling you exactly what I do, what I own, what I don't own, but I just for your sake, I'm not in any stablecoin yield farms. You'll never see me in any of those, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Because if I'm in those, it's a defensive play. And if I am defensive, I'm asking myself, why would I want to be 50-50 in these two coins at this point to basically go and get wrecked? If I'm so defensive and scared, this is just me, I would rather pull up the charts and look for a leverage short, right? I'd rather look for a leverage short and just try to like get some swing shorts on the way down, crush it on the way down, put some trades on. That's me, okay? It's in my blood to do that. I can look for lower highs and stuff. I don't want to sit in a spot yield farm and go, oh, well, if everything goes down, this thing goes down. But look, it is nice. You're theoretically, you're DCAing and earning fees, right? You're earning the ink token and stuff with this and other ones. It is nice for most people because they don't have it in them to do the managing of the risk and stuff. So, but I just want you to know, everything it's a scale, right? There's pros and there's cons. And yeah, there is a con to this. We are now in Bitcoin halvening year. We're starting to see Poopy McPoop going to start flying. JPEGs, Pudgy Penguins are back. Everything's going up. So I'm not saying it's going to go up forever. It's just that type of concern about the downside, I think we've got to have more discussions about that in terms of like if you're defensive, you shouldn't even be in yield farms at all. The risk is crypto is too high. Basically, you think everything's gone to zero. Okay, so I've opened your mind now. I'm glad we were able to go through this. I've got to keep making videos of this over time because there's always new traps, friends. They give you higher and higher in yield, and yeah, guess what? They jack up the yield at the start, and the yield always gets crushed over time. That's another thing to think about. Okay, the yield rarely compensates. It rarely does. Nothing beats buying and holding spot. Nothing, and I promise you that by a long shot. By a long shot. Nothing even compares to it. If you can commit to not paper handing, that's the condition. Can you just freaking sit and hold or add to your position? Can you do that? If you can do that, the stats don't lie, the numbers don't lie, the data doesn't lie. There's all these people anecdotal evidence everywhere, okay? They crush it. Absolutely crush it. And they have the mental fortitude and stamina to sit through minus 80% swings here and there. Doesn't really matter. Okay, now it hurts in the downtime, but you survive through it. But once you start throwing in these stable coins and divergence loss and people panicking, yeah, now you enter a world of hurt. So now you are equipped with the knowledge. Okay, that's okay. Perfectly reasonable. Do it with parts of your portfolio. See what it's like. You know, I know everybody wants to, you want to attain that goal, right? Passive income, getting paid here and there. But you got to learn, friends. There ain't nothing passive or income about freaking markets, especially crypto markets. You understand? It is the most unreliable, schizophrenic, chaotic, fireworks, explosions, World War III thing you'll ever see in your life. Okay, so I know it's our natural human instinct. Please, we want to find safety into this blue chip, but we're going to have to speak about the bombs another time. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.